to defend the right to gather, defend the right to movement and thinking and freedom of expression by the media. All of these were the articles that were suspended by this decree imposed by Micheletti, and because of pressure from the Congress as well as international pressure, he was forced to back away from that. However, it did really cause a chill here at the embassy as well as around the country.
We're also joined in Washington, D.C. by Dr. Luther Castillo. Welcome to Democracy Now!, Dr. Castillo. You are the Secretary of Communications for the National Resistance Front Against the Coup in Honduras. You're also a physician in Honduras, running a hospital there. First, tell us why you're in Washington, D.C.
Good morning to everyone. We are here in Washington, D.C., try to meet some human rights organization in contact with some Congress representative like Congressman Grijalba, who has been writing a great letter addressed to the President Obama to take immediately action in this violation of human rights and that is happening in Honduras every day.
And you have called for a boycott of the elections in November. Why?
Because we recognize that this election in November is an illegal election. We're going to be running in November. One of the strategies that the de facto government is trying to do in this illegal election is to do a continuation of a coup attack in Honduras. Then all that the issues are being addressing by this de facto government is an illegal issue. Then that's make that election in November to be illegal. Then our organization as a national committee against the coup attack, who is inside there, all the civil organization, indigenous organization, unions, and other organizations in Honduras are against this election in November, and we consider it illegal.
Now, Dr. Castillo, you founded the first hospital on the Atlantic Coast region in Honduras. Talk about what that hospital was providing and what has happened since then, since the coup.
Then this hospital, it was funded by Garifuna doctors who was training in Cuba. Then we returned back to our community to give health care to our people that didn't have health care before. Then we started to build the hospital with our own community. And with President Zelaya, we signed an agreement how to give support and sustainability to this process, where we have been attending more than 300,000 people for free in the area. That now the de facto government have been cut and have been denied the agreement that we signed before with President Zelaya. Then that make our hospital now without helps to attend all those people who were in the deep mountain and the more forest area and the department of Colon and Gracias a Dios near to La Mosquitia, then who really need our help in those areas.
And why has the coup regime tried to take over the hospital? Have they given you a reason for this?
They just, I think they just give us, tell us that we are working in the community as illegals there, and they just send us a new agreement to sign that new agreement, who didn't recognize our doctor who are working there in the area with us. They don't even give us any reason why they are doing that. Then we are accustomed to fight against that. We live in Honduras. We really know what the discrimination that we have been facing as a poor people, as a Garifuna people in Honduras. Then we decide with our community and our doctor to be there, to stay there, and keep looking for solidarity and work, continue helping our people there.
And finally, Dr. Castillo, you yourself personally have been targeted by the regime. How are you returning to Honduras, and how are you surviving there?
Then I will be returning back. We just come here to do this work with that national committee give us to do here, because we have to be there with all people fighting, and we have to be there with all people demonstrating peacefully in the street that we are against that regime of brutality that is happening in Honduras. One of the real things that we like to clarify, that we have been listening to some of the representatives representative of the OEA and Organization of States of America, I think this issue is concerned to Honduran people to a point if it's responsible or irresponsible that action that President Zelaya took. We want to clarify that President Zelaya is the only president who was elected for us as Honduran people. He's the only constitutional president of Honduras. Then we decide and we think as a Honduran people that is a responsible action of President Zelaya to return back to our country. He's a Honduran, and we elect him as a president. Then I think that issue is concerned to us, and we don't think that that is a irresponsible action that he is taking right now. Then we want him to return to Honduras. And when some people are talking about what is concerning to the peace of Honduran people, we have been more than 90 days in the street demanding the immediately return for President Zelaya. Now he's in the country. I think we congratulate that action, that courage of President Zelaya to return back to Honduras. That represent one of the steps that we have to take to bring peace to our country.
And what would you like to see the United States to be doing? What would you like to see President Obama to be doing regarding Honduras?
Then we would like to see President Obama condemning all these violations of human rights that have been happening in Honduras. We would like to see President Obama condemning and talking about all those people that have been killing in the street, all those young people who have been killing in the streets, assassination. We would like to see President Obama talking to condemn all those women what military have been violating in the street of Honduras. And we would like to be President Obama pushing more pressure and the economic sanction to those 10 families who were supporting the coup attack in Honduras. And we would like to be President Obama declaring definitely this issue as a military coup attack in Honduras.
And finally, Andrés Conteris, any final words from inside the Brazilian embassy in Tegucigalpa?
The United States has been having a trade embargo against Cuba for decades. And if they would even consider an economic embargo against this regime, this coup would end. That's because there's more than 70 to 75% of Honduran trade is with the United States, and they could not withstand a trade embargo. So the U.S. has arrows in its quiver that it could use to end this crisis, but it is choosing not to do so. And the U.S. people must rise up and pressure the Obama administration to do more for Honduras and human rights here.
Andrés Conteris, thank you very much for joining us. He's the Program on the Americas Director for Nonviolence International, also works at Democracy Now! On Espanol. And special thanks also to Dr. Luther Castillo. He's an indigenous physician from the Atlantic coast of Honduras, Secretary of Communications for the National Resistance Front against the coup in Honduras. This is Democracy Now!, democracynow.org. When we come back, Scott Ritter on Iran. Stay with us.
Hoy nacerá tu luz como el alba, tu salvación se dejará ver, y frente a ti estará la justicia, y con tus manos la harás crecer. La carga es triste, es insoportable, es inmoral y el acreedor también es parte y es responsable de la pobreza y de este dolor. Si vamos juntos a la balanza, claro es que el sur no se beneficia. La deuda amarra las esperanzas de un pueblo que hoy busca la justicia. Que florezca la esperanza, que de fuera la ambición. Pagar deuda con pobreza es una pobre solución. Que la llama del futuro la podamos encender con el fuego que produce nuestra manera de ser. Hoy caminamos a paso lento, luchando contra el lodo y las penas. Damos comienzo a este nuevo siglo, pagando en lágrimas cuentas ajenas. Hay que encontrar una senda justa, beneficiosa y equilibrada, que transparente como agua pura nos lleve a la dignidad ansiada. Si vamos juntos a la balanza, claro es que el sur no se beneficia, la deuda amarra